And we're back, mixtapers. Welcome to Punky's Mixtape. This is a season 3 premiere, season 3, episode 1, and it just so happens to be one of my favorite days of the year. It's May 4th, aka Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. We're celebrating pretty strong here in Mixtape Studios, and hanging out with me, as always, my not so scruffy looking nerf herder of a co-host, Dylan Willoughby. How we doing, buddy?
Oh, living the dream over here. Happy to be back on the mixtape with my first interview ever, so this should be interesting to say the least.
This should be certainly your first interview ever with us on the mixtape. We certainly haven't had to start and stop and start again at all here.
Never.
No, this is not the second take at all. But joining us here for this most wonderful of occasions, we couldn't think of a better band to start the season off than with dear friends of the show. Make some noise, coming in from Atlanta, Georgia. It's Hyperspace. Make some noise. How we doing, guys?
Great.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm a little frustrated with Dylan, but I'm going to get over it. We'll talk.
Join the club, man. Join the club.
Me and your mom have a lot to talk about in therapy this week with you.
And everyone I've ever met. I don't think my mom would commit to going to therapy for me. What are you talking about?
She would with me. We got a lot to talk about, son. Mixtapers, you may remember them. We've played them so many times here on the show, and I was going over our list of why the fuck haven't we had Hyperspace on the show yet? So it was obviously the right move to make to start off the season. So thank you for coming to hang out tonight. We absolutely appreciate it. Obviously,
thank you so much for having us.
We've been longtime fans, and we finally get a chance to be able to sit and do a little one-on-one. So for the mixtapers that don't know, you may not be familiar, take a moment, introduce yourselves, fight amongst yourself on who wants to go first. I have no preference.
Jason, go.
Hi, I'm Jason. I play guitar and sing in Hyperspace.
I'm Ryan, drummer, backup vocals.
And I'm Kayvon Surikani on bass.
Fantastic. Now, according to the notes that Dylan sent over, now this is kind of crazy. You guys share an important date with history. You guys got together, what says what? September 11th, 2001? Oh, that can't be right.
No.
September 2011. Sorry.
2011.
Yeah.
That's
sorry. These notes, Dylan. That's Dylan. It hasn't been long enough to make September 11th jokes. All right, get your notes together. All right, we don't appreciate.
I can joke about September whenever I want.
Just not the 11th of it. It's socially inappropriate for another year, Dylan. All right, jeez. This is
We're close.
This is the type
I'm
of
always
help
too
that we got here. Now, you guys have been together now since September of 2011. And you've dropped 4 EPs so far. So how did Hyperspace first come together? That's my question right there.
I had another band and we broke up because I moved out of town and then came back to Atlanta, and I was like, I really want to keep doing the songs. I want to keep having this band, and I just put an ad on Craigslist looking for a drummer, because the drummer is the hardest person to find in my experience. And luckily, somehow Ryan and I connected. I don't know if he placed an ad or if he responded to my ad, but we met, we had dinner, and then just talked about the kind of bands that we both liked, and what I had sent him some samples so he could listen to some of the songs I had written. And we just practiced one time, and I was like, yeah, he's the guy. And from there, we found a bass player, and the rest is history, really.
So you've had no lineup changes in 10 years.
Oh no. We've had 2. There have been 2 other guys that have played bass. Kayvon's our 3rd bass player.
And how do you feel about that, Kayvon? I mean, probably third time's the charm, as they say, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm just happy to be part of it. That's it's a lot of fun playing with them, and I love the tunes. I love the music, and I think it clicked well. So yeah, just glad to be part of it.
That's awesome. And honestly, Jason, you're right. you're not the first band that's come on, and like, especially for those like in our age bracket, you know, I'm almost 40. I don't look it, but you know, I'm okay with that. But you know, my vocalist, one of my best friends, found him from a Craigslist ad years ago. And honestly, it seems to work. You know, I mean, luckily, it doesn't seem like how many bands be like, yeah, it turned out to be a serial killer. You know, he burned my house down. He pissed all over my couch first. You know, like it seems to be pretty successful. So I guess, you know, like if you're out there, if you're looking for band members, Craigslist is still a viable option. It's still a viable option. So
yeah, I think Ryan was the most skeptical about using Craigslist. I had much success in the past, but I know Ryan had some.
Yeah, I got robbed. I sold a Nintendo 64 with all the games, and this is like back when I was really naive. And this guy was like, "Hey, I'll buy them all for cash." And so just meet me by this McDonald's. I was like, "All right, cool. What can happen at McDonald's?" Met this guy in the McDonald's parking lot. Gunpoint, got robbed.
Wow! Oh boy! Or a Nintendo 64.
Yeah. He took a shit ton of games.
Did you have GoldenEye?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, all right. You know, that's what did it. That's what did it. Have you seen what GoldenEye goes for these days, dude? Oh man, that motherfucker.
Yep.
Oh man, that's wow. Held at gunpoint and had your N64 stolen, dude. All right, that's terrible. Bands that's good, selling video games bad. So
yeah.
We learned
only use Craigslist if you are trying to join a band. Don't sell things. I guess that's the moral of the story.
Or cult.
Especially old games. Yeah, that too.
Oh man. So, I'm curious, how is the scene there in Atlanta? Is it pretty responsive? I've never been to Hotlanta. I know that, you know, a lot of the Marvel shows and stuff get filmed there. Are any of you guys in any upcoming Marvel projects that you can tell me about? Give me any spoilers.
Yeah, I'm in a new Doctor Strange movie coming out. No, I'm not.
Are you one of the many variants that are in the movie?
Yeah, I'm the bald Doctor Strange.
Everybody thinks that it's Patrick Stewart coming back, but it's actually you. You're in a boom operator just in front of the shot. You're like, that's all it is.
It's not Professor X.
It's just a boom op.
Jason, you remember? So actually, interesting story. When we were playing Wonder Root on one of the hottest days of the on record, they actually were filming. A movie with Owen Wilson. What was it called? Oh man, it's gonna come to me. Anyway, they were filming in that general area, and apparently they bought off the block. Like it was just like, you can't park here, but yet we had a show, hall pass. It was hall pass.
Yep.
And but they're filming everywhere. Like even here, I live in a rural area in Wilburn, and it's like you can't drive maybe 5-10 miles without seeing those little cones with the yellow weird acronym that you're like, oh, what are they filming over here? But yeah, it was really interesting for us because we didn't. That's right when things really started ramping up, and that was a show that I'll never forget. Jason can elaborate more on it, but it was like 108, 109 degrees, and we just sweated. And actually, Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, you took some pictures from that show, and you have it in one of our books that we'll be offering in the GoFundMe, the Indiegogo, correct?
Yeah, definitely. There's we've had some friends that have been pretty good about documenting a lot of the shows and stuff, and he happened to capture our first gig, and like Ryan was saying, it's like 109 degrees. We're downstairs in this like underneath a building, and I mean, I strummed the guitar, and it was out of I did this, and it was already out of tune. Like
just the humidity, just killing it, just slipping out instantly.
Yeah. So it was a rough beginning for the band, but I think we've kept going and we've gotten better. Played some more locations with better air conditioning and
proper airflow. That's huge.
Bring your own fans, right?
Yeah.
I've played
an actual fan
in a couple of shitholes where like my old drummer Jackson years ago in a band Seedboard I was in, he like blacked out at his drum set for a minute because it was so hot. You know, and he's just like not drinking nothing. It was like
I've only ever had drummers black out from drinking. Like never that. That's rough. That's rough.
It was just like a split second and like good, and it's like no, we're like all right, like have some water, like ridiculous. Lesson number 2, like stay hydrated out there.
Always drink water.
Yeah.
That's all I think.
We're laying down the life lessons. It's like the elder punks, like you're serious, like you're gonna.
This isn't just an interview. It's life lessons with Hyperspace.
That's right.
We are gonna help you through life.
They've traveled the galaxy. I think they know a thing or two about a thing or two.
Yeah. At least one.
Yeah. I think again, our genre we started, 10, 11 years ago. Nobody cared about the kind of music that we wanted to play. It seems like it's coming back around now. I mean, I heard on PBS that pop punk was a thing again, and I'm like, cool. I guess if PBS says it's a thing, it's actually a thing. But.
Yeah. Well, my biggest thing is that you look at the bands that are being promoted that are actually out there. I mean, back like for instance when I was real big into music, it was like you had your Bad Religions, your Green Days, your Blink-182s. Like these were bands that were up and coming, and you saw them go from nothing to something. And then you look at the music scenes now. And obviously this is post-COVID, everything's kind of slowly returning, but Jesus, I look at what our musical choices, our musical influences, and we got like either Billie Eilish or we have Foo Fighters or, had Foo Fighters, but it's just like, there's no one else paving the way. There's just, the selections are so thin for those subgenres. So
mainstream's become very watered down. It's everything. You got to find it on the internet. It's hiding out there. Like there's all these little gems hiding all over. But like mainstream, what you're funneled and shown, it's all the same few artists. I get exactly what you're saying.
I absolutely agree, and I think a lot of it, especially after COVID, and like for them, they simply look at it as a financial option. Like, is this band financially viable?
And not to mention that a lot of, and it's becoming increasingly popular amongst a lot of these venues, is paying to play, or basically they'll do the reverse ticket sales. Like they'll give you a bunch of tickets, be like, well, this is $500 for the tickets. You better sell them.
Or you owe us that money.
Or you owe us that money. Yeah,
I think
it's so
that's
frustrating.
Ridiculous. And that's sad because you got young aspiring musicians and you're getting all their hope into there and like, oh, battle of the bands. There's like certain buzzwords and they get your attention and get you excited about it. And then it's just a bait and carrot at that point, and that's hard because these promoters, they'll just walk away with all that money. They never invest it into the artist. They never give it back to the venue. They pay the base fee and then they walk away because they're in it for the absolute wrong reasons. And that's sad. And that's like, tip number 3 right there is never pay to play.
Yeah.
Never.
So you guys been together now for about 10 years. You've got 4 releases, soon to be 5, but we want to do like a jump back to like the very, very beginning, to your first EP, to And It's You. Has some great tracks on there. One of my favorite, just because I'm a sad boy at heart. Obviously, Breakup Song. Stand out right there. So you guys were saying behind the scenes that you guys are a huge DIY band. Have you done all of your own recording for all of your EPs?
We've gone to studios to record them, but we've self-funded them ourselves. So. If we had like a pre-sale or an Indiegogo, that really was just paying us back. And we're never going to make back all of the money and time that we put into the band. And it's not about that when we do an Indiegogo or a pre-sale or anything like that. But and It's You. Actually, the Jason Andrews is the name of the guy who recorded us. He actually came after us. On Facebook, I think, just sent me an email and was like, hey, I heard you guys. I just want to, if you're interested, I'd like to, record you guys and take it to the next level. So we took him up on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And more engineers certainly need to do that and start seeking out bands, but like I really like your sound. Let's get you recorded. You don't hear that one very often. So that's pretty sick. I really enjoyed that album. You got Jennifer on there and Breakup Song, which I absolutely really like.
Cool. Breakup Song. No one's ever said they like that one.
I know.
So.
That
really?
Is yeah.
I appreciate shocking. You liking that one.
Type of guy. Like you gotta listen to the little subtleties.
You had your second album, Going Plaid, which big fan of the song Geeks in Love on that one, personally. I know wow. Drop my pen. Big fan of the song Geeks in Love on that one. I know Punky's also a huge fan of that one. But I mean, Is there any like type of like pressure that you have like going into like making like a second album? You know, like do you feel like you got to follow something up? Like what was kind of your mindset going into that?
Dylan really wants to nail it up because he's feeling sophomoritis with like his releases behind the scenes. So this is like now you know how like something's like, oh, I'm asking for a friend. This is Dylan literally asking for himself. He's got a little bit of sophomoritis for his follow up for Endless Holiday. So that's a great question. I just wanted to make a point of it to point it out.
Cool. Yeah.
Throw him under the bus.
We're interested to hear your second record as well, man. Yeah, Going Plaid really was, and Ryan can attest to this, but a lot of the songs, you know, we had like 15, 16 songs, but we only had a certain budget. So End It's You was 7 songs. And, you know, he was like, for the money, 7 songs, you're going to get the most value out of it. You could do 10, but I'm going to charge you more. So we just went with the 7. And then when it came time for Going Plaid, you know, we'd been playing those for 2-3 years already. And so it was just a simple, we decided to use someone else to record it, which was Rob Dyson. And because he actually ended up mixing And It's You.
Okay.
And really, most of that, I tell this story and it's hard to believe, but like 6 of those songs, it's just the one take. Like we convinced Rob, because I don't think I've said this before on tape, but Going Plaid was only planned as a 4-song. It was going to be Taking Off, Transform, Christy, and Cheerio were the 4 songs. And so we did multiple takes on those, but the other songs that are on there, like Geeks in Love and all that, we convinced Rob, like, hey, Rob, can you just record us while we're practicing? And so we played those 6 songs right in a row. And our bass player at the time, Todd, who actually was the one who said, hey, we got to name this Going Plaid. It's perfect. Spaceballs, it's, you know, it hits all the...
Plaid!
Yeah, exactly. And I don't have the CD here, but the CD is actually the plaid patterns from Spaceballs.
That's amazing.
So if you were to buy it, that's what you would get. But
raspberry. And nobody gives me the raspberry.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was always a darker record because at the time I was still dealing with like breakups and stuff, which, I mean, every album I have is a breakup album for me. But that one at the time, I wanted it to be more raw, you know, and we came off of End It's You where we recorded it in, I don't think, a conventional way, at least not a way I'd ever done it before, where we played it like, David and I were playing to a click track, and then Ryan played to a click track to us playing to the click track, and then we played again to him, and it was really strange, and we just wanted to do it, all of us in a room together playing. If we mess up, we're going to overdub, and so that's the way we did Going Plaid.
Yeah, playing that was for me as a drummer, playing to a click track. That was my wake up call. So. We learned a lot from it. So for our future albums, we know that when we write these songs, we go in there, we all have our earbuds in, our in-ears, and when we have a click track in there, we all agree, okay, what's going to be the time beats per, what's the BPM for this song? So by the time we go in there, because again, everything's DIY, everything, you know, time is money. Literally, when we go in there, my job is, you know, 4 or 5 takes, perfect, done. Next song, 4 or 5 takes, perfect, done. Occasionally we get Jason can probably tell you there's a couple of songs where I just nailed the first time. It was just, that very rarely happens where it's like perfect. And that obviously, it's great.
It's always such a good feeling when that happens.
Yeah, it very rarely does, but it happens on occasion. But for the most part, you go in there. But again, this first album, from a drummer's perspective, it was very overwhelming to play, you know, a song per. And at the time, the songs were pretty fast. We're talking like what, a $110, $120 beats per minute. So to play perfect, that high of a BPM, it was a wake up call to me that you're gonna have to start practicing more and, you know, getting used to the
Life lesson number 4: always practice with a metronome.
Yes,
there it is.
Well, we can do it perfect when the tape's not rolling. As soon as the tape's rolling, then
it's a mind
recording
really
anxiety.
Absolutely, it's the hey, check out this thing I've been working on. We're like, oh, wait a minute.
Do I play this instrument? Like
that's happened to me in the studio too. Like Corey, you start a song, total just recording anxiety, absolute real thing. Just go in there and completely falter. But I mean, you guys, you don't seem to have that issue because you keep knocking out fantastic albums, fantastic EPs, and one of my favorites. And honestly, so drenched in. I mean, you've got a great geek voice throughout your albums already, just for being yourself. But I feel like with Delusions of Grandeur, like you really like kicked in like the geek into like hyperdrive on it. Like more Star Wars songs on there than any other album that you have. Now, what was that conscious choice to go like full nerd forward on it more than usual?
Delusions of Grandeur really, we had so many songs. I mean, again, we've been a band 3-4 years, maybe 5 at that point. I just wanted to clear out all the songs, like I'd had, Darth Vader I wrote in college. Chewbacca was a relatively new song. Carrie Fisher I wrote in college around the same time as Darth Vader, so it was just a lot of this like, okay. And some of it was like, let's just do these songs and then we'll never have to play them again, kind of thing.
one of those situations.
Yeah.
I get that.
So yeah, it was just like, they just kept adding up. Like, okay, with a song like Goonies, that was David, our original bass player. He wasn't in the band anymore, but we'd been playing it for like 5 years since he left. And we wanted to record it, and he was like, yeah, you can record it, but I want to do it my way, the way I wrote it. And so, he came in and did some guitar, he did some vocals on that one as well. And so it just sort of just turned into this sort of nerdy kind of album, not by design, just like, here's a bunch of songs that we've been playing for years and we just kind of want to get them out. And it just worked. And with the cover of School, that's usually how we ended every show, because Todd's wife, Crystal, was just like begging us every show we ever played. She was like, you got to play my song. And so it just became on the album,
I love Delusions of Grandeur so much. It's such a great album. It's on all the streaming services for everyone who's out there. Same with all these great albums that we're talking about right now. But it's ones that we're definitely going to be checking out tonight, celebrating, our beloved Star Wars, our franchise, probably the most argued thing in the world. I would say, not politics, not anything on society. It's just Star Wars is probably the most argued point in the world. On which trilogy is their trilogy. It's 4, 5, and 6. But it's 4, 5, and 6.
Of course it is.
I had the gold VHS set when I was like 5. Like I learned how to tie my shoe watching Yoda die. So like, that's
that's significant.
Stuck with me, So the loop goes through here. Wait, Yoda's dead? Oh man, that was my life.
We're definitely going to be checking out, a lot of those tonight. And then obviously you had Emulator Drop, and that's got a great homage to Carrie Fisher. Mm-hmm. I love the track that goes to Carrie Fisher. I love it so much. I think I've played it like 3 or 4 times on the show over the years that we've been doing this. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
I fucking love that track. One, I mean, she will always be my princess. And I'll always miss her. Carrie Fisher was a beautiful human being, just a great embodiment of what humanity can be at its best. So obviously we're going to do a deep dive tonight on all your Star Wars tracks so we can share it with all the mixtapers. But so you guys, working on potentially getting out of Hotlanta for a little bit, coming up the coast, doing some shows. You guys also got a new EP that's about to drop here in the summer. Is that correct?
Yeah, probably around July. We're just waiting to get the vinyls in the mail. They've been approved, and hopefully they're being manufactured right now and all that. And actually, for this album, it's a collection of. It's not really a best of because we don't have any hits, but we took a bunch of songs from our first 4 albums and put them on vinyl just because I wanted to celebrate 10 years of being together. And everyone's always asking us whenever we play a show, do you guys have vinyl? because it seems like people don't want to buy CDs anymore. It's like they'll buy a shirt before they'll buy a CD. Mm-hmm. Or if we had a vinyl, they would buy a vinyl. So I thought this was a good opportunity. We were in the pandemic. We weren't actually able to sort of get together for at least, I think, the first year or so. And I was just like, I always wanted to just have music on a vinyl. And, so we took a couple tracks from each record and put them on this vinyl, had them completely remixed, completely remastered. So it's not the same stuff. It sounds relatively the same, but I think Kayvon was saying it's just sort of refreshed. It's more updated. And actually the guy who did Emulator, he mixed Emulator, he's over in the UK. He is another guy who tracked us down. He heard Delusions of Grandeur and he just emailed me and said, I want to, mix your next record. And I was like, we don't have anything yet, So we got him to remix all the songs that are going to be on Retrograde. And so we're really excited that's going to be coming out in the summer. And like I said, hopefully in the fall, we'll be able to do a little East Coast tour to support it and, get those. Actually, I have one of the tapes and
oh hell yeah. Oh, that looks
got a little glare. There you go. That's a little better. No glare on that one. But yeah, orange.
Oh, and they're orange too. Oh, that's
that's pretty.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm definitely excited. I absolutely will be ordering a copy of Retrograde when it becomes available, so I can sit here in the MixTape studio and kind of lose myself to the new mix. So
I think it'd be in the best interest of the entire MixTape family to invest in the Retrograde vinyl. So
I want to second Dylan's nomination for the purchase of Retrograde within the future. And obviously, once it becomes available, we're gonna grab it and we're gonna fucking celebrate it, because you guys have been killing it now for a decade, and you put out some great albums, you put out some amazing music videos. Obviously, episode 7 we're gonna play tonight because it's Star Wars themed. Fancy that. You guys got anything else coming up here? You working on any new videos or anything like that?
I would love to do a video for one of the songs off Retrograde. We haven't really lined anything up just yet, but we're always working on new material. I think Ryan and Kayvon can speak a little bit to the newer stuff, but it's still Hyperspace. But I think we've sort of say it's a progression. It's who we are now. A lot of the earlier albums, it was just solely me. Coming up with the ideas and things, but I think everybody tries to contribute, and the band's growing in a different way,
So getting something to be able to reflect that in your current evolution, would be fantastic. Seems like it's the logical next step for the band. On some other geeky aspects here, before I forget, which I wanted to ask about before I do my wrap up, is you guys have gotten to play Dragon Con. Now, obviously, for those who don't know, Dragon Con is one of the coolest conventions, on the East Coast. If you're much like myself and are what would consider to be a mostly indoor kid. If you're a huge fan of pop culture in general, it is one of the best conventions to go to. How is playing that? I bet you guys were pretty well received there.
Yeah, it's always a dream and flattering when they give us the opportunity to play. This most recent time was no exception. It was awesome. The stage hands were awesome. The sound crew was awesome. Crowd was awesome. COVID precautions were heavily enforced. There was a lot of people there. This is right where some semblance of normalcy was kind of like we just had a sliver of it. And it was a little overwhelming. I mean, seeing that many people and trying to enforce all of these, social distancing, etc., masks, mandates, etc. I'd probably say it was around half attendance, at least visually from what I could see, but it's still a great turnout nonetheless. And then, yeah, the stage, it's always invigorating, especially from a drumming standpoint, because just like hitting that bass drum and feeling the whole room just shake. It's unlike any other experience, especially as giant as a ballroom that is. I think it's maybe like 3 or 4 ballrooms. Like they take down all these little dividers, and it's just this huge, just massive. Yeah, and we had a great time. I mean, obviously with social distancing, the crowd, it was a little awkward. Only letting X amount of people come in at so often, so they kind of paced things. But over than that, the people in the crowd were great. Actually, Jason, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I did record that. It's on YouTube. I believe I uploaded it. Our set when we played. It was a good set. Yeah, it was. But it was great. It's we look for many more performances at Dragon Con.
Was that your first show back from the pandemic? Was for Dragon Con?
I think it was our second. We had a warm up gig.
Good, because I was gonna say to come back into that big of a crowd. I mean, like we're talking like I met like tens of thousands of people at this convention coming through. It's one of the biggest East Coast, one of the biggest in the Southeast here in the United States.
And most recently, we've performed last year in person, and the year before that we did virtual. So we've been pretty fortunate. But I was just say last year was the first time Kayvon has played Dragon Con in person with us, though. So I bet that was pretty killer.
It was a good experience. I mean, I can't really relate it to anything else that we've played before or since. It was a huge show, and we had a really receptive crowd. Everybody was cheering and singing along and dancing, and that makes it a great feeling in and of itself. So it was a blast.
And those are everything you want for it in a live show, and that's the type of love that you get in the convention circuit, because I'm a cosplayer. I love every bit of going to convention, and you get to see people's best version of their true selves there. And, people are just there with an open mind and an open heart, and they're artistic and creative and fantastic. I've had fantastic memories. And that's tip number 6. Go to your local comic convention. You'll have a great time. We got all sorts of life tips tonight coming in here.
Yeah, we actually we played, there was a Star Trek convention, which I know it's Star Wars Day and all, but they were pretty good to us as well. We played that 3 or 4 years in a row. And so that sort of, I think, helped us sort of get into Dragon Con, was hanging out with the Trekkies. But and I know Ryan's wife. She liked cosplay at the Trek conventions too. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh goodness, Hyperspace. It's been awesome. We're gonna watch a bunch of videos tonight. And, we're gonna check out some tracks from you guys. We're gonna do a little bit of a deep dive. We're really excited. So a July release for Retrograde coming to vinyl, which is super exciting.
And tape.
And cassette tape, which is good because I'm starting to get a little collection of some of my mixtape family here on cassette. So definitely, I gotta get one of each. So got Retrograde coming up. You guys gonna get any upcoming shows that we can in the Atlanta area?
There's something actually in July. I think it's the 8th, July 8th. There's It's Outside the Perimeter Fest, or OTP Fest, and I think we're playing at Sweetwater. We don't have a time or anything, but it's definitely early July. That's definitely the next.
But if you go to hyperspaceband.com,
that's right.
You can find out more about this. Look at this. It's like I did my homework.
You're absolutely right.
Oh man, Jason, Ryan, Kayvon, it's been an honor. I think we did pretty good for the first dual interview here. Yeah. It wasn't. We didn't completely train wreck it. I think I can keep them. I think I can keep them another week.
So we tend to stray from typical conversations, so I think we stayed pretty grounded for once. It was good for us. I'm proud.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for coming to hang out on the show, for helping for our season 3 premiere, hanging out on Star Wars Day, As always, may the fourth be with you.
May the fourth be with you.
Oh, goodness.
Right back
Thanks so
at
much for hanging out. And best place to listen to you. I know you're on all platforms, but what's the most beneficial to you guys?
I guess Bandcamp.
Bandcamp.
I mean, yeah, because maybe then you might want to get a shirt or a CD or things like that. But no, we're on Spotify, we're on Amazon, Google, iTunes, all the places you can find us pretty much.
And all the places, be sure at Hyperspace to all your playlists. Check them out. Got a great discography. It's ever growing. I want to thank you all for hanging out tonight and definitely making our Star Wars Day an absolute special one. So thanks so much.
Yes,
Thank you
you.
so much for having us.
We really
Until
appreciate it.
until next time.
Stay sexy.